Yeah, that's an amazing story, Jared. I mean, unbelievable highs and lows. I mean, you were on the verge of being on television as a professional wrestler, had that snatched away from you, and like you said, essentially your identity completely shattered. Like you don't even know who you are at that point.
Yeah.
And to come back
Yeah.
from that is just unbelievably incredible. It sounds like you made a shift from like being efficient to being effective, right? Efficiency being you're doing things right, effective being you're doing the right things, right? And so, I mean, so what was it for you? Like, where did you kind of begin to piece that back together and recondition yourself? I know you said you question your beliefs, your rules, your values. How did you implement that though, like on a daily basis?
I think a lot of guys feel this way deep down, and I think this is the crux of the nice guy syndrome. They know there's a version of themselves inside that they can get out.
Yes.
But they don't know how to get it out.
Right.
They know there's this ideal version of themselves. They know there's the real them in there if they could only figure out how to do it. And that's how I felt for a long time. Like, this isn't me. The guy that I'm seeing in the pictures isn't me. The guy that's showing up, the guy that's it's not me. There's this version of me, this ideal version of me that exists. How do I get there?
Yes.
So what I did, here's kind of the trick that I did. I pictured my girlfriend, because I could tell it was going downhill fast.
Right.
I pictured, well, what would happen if we broke up and I saw her on social media a year later? Who would she be with? Who would I have to see? And he'd have his act together. He would be doing a certain thing in his career. He'd be carrying himself a certain way. So I go, wait a minute, let me become my own replacement here. So I go, who would be the guy that has this ideal version of me, but that's who he is? Right. So I crafted the identity. He would do this.
Wow.
His purpose would be this. Here's what he would believe. Here's how he'd show up every day. And I wrote it out on paper, and I found the gap. I go, well, okay, if that's the ideal version of me, if that's where I want to go,
right,
how have I been? And how are my actions matching up to that?
Yeah.
And then what I did through personal development and different techniques, using the unconscious mind, I was able to get rid of all the patterning that held me back.
Wow, that's incredible. And you know what? It takes, I mean, a high level of honesty and courage with yourself to be able to sit down and write out, like, here's where I want to go, but probably more importantly, here's where I am. And here's what that really looks like, and be real and raw with yourself to really understand what that gap looks like and begin to close it, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And I think what happens is people close the gap sometimes by going to the opposite spectrum.
Yes.
So for example, if you're a nice guy and it's not working for you, the natural tendency is to go, well, I gotta be a jerk, because being nice is not working, and they like the people that treat them like a jerk, so I gotta go do that. So they flip.
Right.
Happen in wrestling too. The guys that would be really passionate about wrestling, they get passed over. Right. They go, oh, but that guy, he doesn't do nearly as much, so they get lazy or they get bitter.
Right.
And they think that's going to get them where they want to go. So they flip. The opposite of what you want, believe it or not, isn't the opposite. It's being integrated. So if you have on this side, it's being a nice guy, and on this side is being a jerk. It's not this or this. It's like finding somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
It's finding your it factor, right? It's like finding the common ground.
Right.
I think they would call it like a high value man or an integrated man.
Right.
Is what you need to get to,
Yeah.
right? So it's not the opposite. It's what's above all of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so